like unbelievable, you know, because we rented a 17 passenger van to drive to Detroit with all the family members. But, you know, Sam was like, nah, no.
She gonna fly back.
I'm flying back. She let them drive back. Yeah. Kids and everything. Moms, dads, kids.
Yeah.
They all drove back, but she flew back. You know what I'm saying? She had to get off that plane like.
That's right. They're going to be flying into Atlantic Aviation here in Philadelphia, which is the private airport. Let's go out to the airport and check in with Ashlyn Sullivan, who's on the scene. And there are plenty of Eagles fans on the scene as well. How is it out there, Ashlyn?
It is absolutely insane, as you would expect, Amy and Barrett. Of course, we are waiting for the Eagles to land. They will land right here. The cops are doing their best to keep fans away from the fence, but I want to show you how many fans are here. I would say in the hundreds here waiting for the Eagles to land. Pretty cool stuff. And it goes down this entire street. I told them to do that. We've heard that at least 50 times, just standing here for 30 minutes, but the Eagles are going to land in about 10 minutes. Every single fan also is tracking this flight, which is pretty impressive, and I've been told fans have been out here since noon, so they've been waiting 4 hours for the Eagles to land as Super Bowl champions. We'll let you know when they land and come back out so you can see it live.
I love that everybody's tracking. I mean, that's the beauty of technology, right? Everybody has their phones out trying to find it, and they're tracking it in the air. But, you know, when you're looking at all those fans, do they like talk about the confidence that they had? Because I feel like that was the easiest, if there's such a thing, easiest Super Bowl victory. For the fans of Philadelphia, that's not normal for us. There's a reason it's called Negadelphia, right?
Right.
That is so true. Talking to fans out here, they said that they were planning on lining up here. They already knew that this was going to be a celebration. There's a confidence in this fan base that has been for a long time, really ever since the post-bye when we saw this Eagles team perform better and better. These fans, they are ready to go. And it looks like we got a plane landing as we speak. That might be it. Chris, give me a look right there.
I think you're right. I think there is a plane landing. Getting ready, that looks like it's the plane. You know, I wish I could search the tail number. It just went right by, but I believe that is. They're on American Airlines landing here into Philadelphia, and you saw them, or you heard the big roar there, Barrett, from the fans. No surprise. You can't be surprised that there's hundreds of fans standing beside a gate, a fence, and just trying
Super Bowl champions.
Yeah, just trying to get a glimpse of their team.
That plane right now is more famous than Air Force One. I'm letting you know right now.
Everybody's tracking that plane right now.
You know, but I mean, for them to come in, Super Bowl champion, world champions, I mean, this is exactly why you play the game. You know, there's no telling who you might see there right now. I mean, this is a wonderful experience for these guys. And I mean, I just love that the new guys, you know, I want these new guys, you know, the Cooper DeJeans, you know, those guys get used to feeling like this so they can go out and work their asses off going into the season so they can have these type of events, you know, just from a plane landing. You know, this is what they deserve. And, you know, I'm glad they are in a position right now that they are the world champions.
Listen, Barrett, I know you've celebrated a Super Bowl. We all saw the guys celebrating in the locker room last night. We all saw the people of Philadelphia celebrating as well, but they're all celebrating late into the night. They got up. There was a press conference this morning. Jalen Hurts, then, of course, he's already in Disney World with his own parade down there, and we'll have the parade here on Friday. We'll bring you that. But, you know, what is the atmosphere like on that plane, the party atmosphere like?
A lot of ice and ibuprofen. Those guys playing the game, you know, so they're hurting. And they're right, you know, their bodies are hurting, but right now their heads are hurting right now.
Dehydration.
You know, I mean, the drinks were flowing, cigars, you know, cigars at this point, you know, probably got their head hurting also. But I mean, these guys are just happy to be world champions. You know, it really hasn't sunk in. I think it's really going to sink in once they start seeing the fans and understanding the magnitude that they had in this city's, you know, whole makeup right now. This is all about the Philadelphia Eagles. I hate to say it, but Flyers who? You know, I mean, spring training right around the corner, but it's all about the Eagles right now. I mean, at this point, 76ers, because it's the Eagles world right now.
They're not going to be the first people to land after a trip to New Orleans feeling a little bit dehydrated. So there's a lot of people that are also be coming back, fans as well in the Philadelphia area that enjoyed their time down there in the Big Easy. But you mentioned the younger guys. There's obviously guys that are carryover from the team in 2022.
Right.
And if you're a Brandon Graham, you're carried over from the 2018.
Brandon Graham.
Blaine Johnson
Jake
as well.
Elliott.
You're right, Jake Elliott. So I mean,
Votto.
there's a couple of those guys, but really it's about the young guys and that feeling of wanting to keep this going, that they were there, maybe they're in 2022, and then now they're there this year, or this is their first year. That kind of mentality, that really helps drive a team for sustained success.
Yes, and especially on the defensive side of the ball where you have Vic Fangio, and the first thing he says to his defense is like, look, guys, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. You don't know how to work. You thought you were working hard, but I'm here to show you how to work hard. And they already have right now the foundation of a young defense, a fast defense. These guys are ready to play. But now they also have the work ethic that comes with being an excellent team. I think last year they got a little bit, behind the buck as far as how to go out there and take a championship. They know how to, be in a championship, but they didn't know how to take a championship because they didn't work hard enough. I said it before, they didn't work hard enough. These guys know what work it entails for you to go out there and be a world champion because they did it this time. Vic Fangio showed them what they needed. I'm so glad that he went down to Miami and there were too many places that these young guys can go to and they didn't want to work as hard as they needed to work, so they ousted him. They're trash. Our treasure, he comes up, shows these young guys and this defense how to play the game. And it's more so, X's and O's. Yes, you got X's and O's, but I think it's more so the attitude. And these guys were so determined to go out there and really put their mark on the defense. And I think that's the biggest thing, the attitude this team has. They wanted to beat you up. And all throughout the season, I kept saying, this team doesn't care who's across from them. They don't care what your jersey number is. They don't care what color your jersey is, what the name or logo on your helmet is. They just want to physically beat you up and play Philadelphia football. And that's what they did. The Eagle way is definitely something that they have right now. And I hope they go forward with the same type of attitude.
It's such a good point. When you look at the stars of this Eagles season, you start obviously with Nick Sirianni, a guy who was on the hot seat. A lot of people thought he shouldn't have come back. You go now to Vic Fangio, who was fired. Unceremoniously down
after 1 year
in Miami,
right.
and players came out and said they know his system doesn't work. And then you're looking at a guy like Jalen Hurts, who was benched in college and wasn't sure what his status was going to be. And throughout the season, can he throw? Can
a bunch
he
of underdogs,
It's such a different mentality than even in 2018, where they were truly underdogs because the whole team was looked at, and slighted. But these are guys that were kind of cast-offs when you think about it, or shouldn't have been there, and they came together. Saquon Barkley, for Pete's sake, the Giants saying, no, you can't attach $12 million to a running back because you can't win with them.
You can't win with a running back.
It's hilarious to say out loud, given the season that they're coming home Super Bowl champions.
Unbelievable, even Quinyon Mitchell, he fell to 21.
Right.
How does that happen?
Top-rated corner.
He was the number one corner in the draft, ran a 4.3 40. He goes out, he has the best skill set. He understood fundamentally how to play the cornerback, just from man-to-man zone, whatever you need to play him, and he fell to 21. That's the type of disrespect you get. Same thing with Cooper DeJean. The disrespect he got, the slight he got because he got injured. Everybody think he was going to be able to come back and be that cornerback that we knew that he could be. Those are the type of, instances where, we're a little mad. We got a chip on our shoulder. Davis, you can't get in shape.
Jalen Carter, you hit the rookie wall.
But they took all of this and internalized it and went out there and won a championship, won a Super Bowl. I'm happy for these guys. So many things you talk about. Even a guy like Lane. Lane, you're too old to play. He showed he was still the best right tackle in the league. So I love the fact we're not going to be able to go in and replace a guy that's an all-pro, the best center in football for the past 6 or 7 years. We're not going to be able to replace him. What do? We go out and replace him with a guy who is now an all-pro. A Pro Bowler.
Right.
This team had so many things and so many knocks against them.
Zach Bond's never played middle linebacker.
Right. What does he do? Go out there and balls. Nakobe Dean, you're too small to play.
Yeah.
He goes out there and plays to a level I hadn't seen before. It used to be, Nolan Smith was a one-trick pony. All he could do was rush the pass from the outside. He went out there, worked hard, learned some pass rushing moves. Now he's one of the most dominant D-ends in the NFL. He's only going to get better as he hones his craft and goes out there and keeps on working. I'm so glad to see this plane ride run up. This is a special. Getting off this plane right now is going to be special. So I can remember getting off and walking down the steps.
And I don't think that these players realize. They probably think in their minds, Ashley Sullivan, as we welcome you back in there, who's standing by at the airport. I think they think in their minds like, oh, yeah, there'll be people there. Because, listen, Devontae Smith's on there. He's been at Alabama. He won a national championship. So he's experienced something like this. They have no idea what they're going to be walking out to, right?
None whatsoever.
Oh my gosh, there is no way they expected this. And fans are one thing. One, the cops are earning their pay here. Fans keep trying to run to the fence. I'm watching it live. And then the cops, somewhat politely, are pushing everyone back to the sidewalk. It's not going to work. As we're watching the plane live now come really close to us here at the gate. And you're seeing everyone that's working at the airport as well that is now kind of just fans as well. Everyone in their vests is jumping up and down and filming. I think everyone is now off of work and has become an Eagles fan as the plane now is right in front of us and people are going absolutely nuts. We have a great view here from outside the fence, and I'm curious if players run up to say hello because this guy, I mean, these fans have been out here for nearly 5 hours at this point trying to get the best view possible.
I love it.
And they're blowing the whistle?
Yeah, exactly. They're trying. I love that the plane is right there. And obviously, as Ashlyn pointed out, the guys that are working the grounds crew and the air traffic control, they're all Eagles fans too. We saw them when they were leaving. The pilot had the flag as he was leaving out there. I mean, this is something for the city of Philadelphia. And to kind of paraphrase, obviously, Charlie Manuel, it is for Philadelphia. When you win something like this is something that's so unique to our city here. The ownership that everybody feels with the team. You were in Pittsburgh. You've been with the Eagles. Those are two really kind of emblematic, teams where you win something there. It means something to the people. They share it with their friends. They share it with their family. These are lasting images and memories. And you see, when Ashton showed us the crowd there, you saw people with their young kids. These are something that they're going to remember their whole entire life.
You're talking about one of the best fan bases that I ever played for in the NFL. I mean, the Eagles at this point are definitely one of the biggest fan bases I played for.
Listen to them down there in New Orleans. It was like a home game.
It's almost like a fascist type of organization. They don't play when it comes to their Eagles. They will fight and destroy any other fan base for their Eagles. And I love that. I love that, wherever I go, I can find another Philadelphia Eagle fan. I'm talking about wherever I go. I can be on any continent and out here, go Birds. It was incredible. I mean, anywhere I went, I heard go Birds. I was in Puerto Rico, go Birds.
Of course. It's a greeting. How many times this past couple of weeks you just see people and they just say go Birds?
I wish I had. I wish I had 50 Cent. If I had 50 Cent, I would probably be a millionaire right now. Just for every time I heard "Go Birds."
Go Birds.
Just in casual walking around the grocery store, something like that.
Yeah, just
so
see
that's
people.
What it's all about. Yeah.
Especially if you're wearing something, they're just like, "Oh, go Birds." The whole city was taken over. Obviously, we saw the lights at night. The entire city painted green. A Boathouse Row, a Comcast Tower, FMC building, all of the buildings. Were just really lit up green, and I think that's just emblematic, obviously, of the way that the city feels about this. And there's several hundred people that have been out there for hours just to see a plane land. That's really how you know, like this.
4 hours.
Yeah.
In the cold.
In the cold. It's not that warm out. It's like in the upper 30s, low 40s or whatever right now. And everybody's bundled up, and you can see they're starting to bring up the stairwell to unlock that door and let the Eagles out. Who do you think is going to be the first one out?
You know what?
Because you know how planes work in the NFL and any team. There's certain
the older players are probably the older players are in first class. So probably Lane and those
coaches
guys.
maybe are up there
but
too.
I'll tell you this: the older players that have their little thing going on, they go to the back and they might be playing cards or something like that. They have their own little clique there to go to. But I really think
like Sirianni maybe, or you think it'll be like?
I think it'll be Saquon.
That would be great. Well, we know it's not going to be Jalen Hurts. He is in Orlando at Disney World as they're getting ready to unseal the door and let the Eagles out as they are being welcomed here to Philadelphia. And we're going to look and see, obviously, some of the players and the coaches are going to be getting off first, and they're going to be taking, the coaches are going to be sitting. There's Big Dom. Right there. Not surprising. He's going to be some of the first there. So some of the coaching staff is going to be getting off as they deplane here. This is just outside Atlantic Aviation, the private airport area at the Philadelphia airport. And there it is. There's Jeffrey Lurie with the Super Bowl trophy. I'll give him the first nod. He is the first one off.
Yeah, the first nod. Yeah, you got to go with the owner. And like I said, I mean, one of the best owners in the NFL. He should coin the phrase gold standard.
Yes,
because
he
has
did.
Definitely set the mark. And there's Nick Sirianni.
Nick Sirianni right after him. So they're the first ones off. You can see Jeffrey Lurie handing it off. There's Howie Roseman. Mrs. Lurie's right there front. Howie right behind as they come off. Jeffrey Lurie's, we're
The
going to be
brain
seeing
trust.
that.
That's what we call it. The brain
Yes,
trust.
there it is. It's the head coach, the owner, and of course the man who brought Saquon Barkley and Zach Bond and all the other free agents and helped with the draft. Some of the most improbable draft picks, as you mentioned, Quinyon Mitchell falling to 21. So Jeffrey Lurie's getting off there with the Lombardi Trophy, the
There's
second
the
in
president
Eagles
right there.
history. There's Don
Smolinski's
Smolinski.
yeah.
He was on the radio this morning. And then you're going to start to see some of the players. So we will be interested to see if they come over. Ashland was giving us the lay of the land about how they're trying to keep it away from, right up against, there's Jeff Stoutland, Stoutland University, who is responsible for one of the best O-lines in NFL history.
Our first player, CJGJ.
Yep, CD Deuce, there he is.
Yep.
Some of the other players getting off, still wearing their, some of them are still wearing their Super Bowl stuff.
Yep.
There's Vic Fangio. If you could give a coach MVP, he would have gotten the MVP for me.
Yep. Yeah, Kellen Moore came back, and he promised he was going to come back. He wasn't going to stay.
Well, he needs to be in the parade,
New
right?
Orleans. No, he'll probably go fly to New Orleans probably later on tonight or tomorrow.
Getting off the plane right there, Lane Johnson. I love that they're wearing their gear. And so they're getting off the plane now one by one.
Coach Clinton Hurt, the new first-year coach. And hey, A.J. Brown.
There's A.J. Brown. Hard to miss
running back
1K.
coach right there.
Jordan Mailata with his Reese's bag.
Yeah.
Who's not a fan of Reese's? Listen, when you're down there, you got to pick up all kinds of swag for everybody at home as well.
No question.
But I love that these guys are getting off and they're going to be seeing all of the hundreds of fans that are lined up just to get a glimpse of them returning home, Super Bowl champs. You can see
Nolan Smith.
I was going to say Nolan Smith still got the goggles on, which is very important for any locker room celebration, as you know. There's Devontae, always styling and profiling.
Yep. Nolan Smith behind him.
Is that Landon Dickerson?
I can't see. Got to lift his head up. It's an old lineman somehow. Yep. Jalen Carter right there.
There's Jalen.
There's Makai Becton. And there goes a truck just went by. There goes our
Cam
center.
Jurgens. There's Cam Jurgens.
Cam. Can't really see. They got their heads down. They're trying to walk. That's what it is.
Is that BG?
Outside linebacker coach. That's BG right there.
BG.
Yeah, with his coach.
Slay right behind him.
Slay.
So this is Barrett and I just giving you a live play-by-play of who we're seeing. There's Jordan Davis.
Jordan Davis. Look like he look a little skinnier, doesn't he?
Maybe.
Super Bowl champion look a little skinnier now, a little thinner.
Cooper DeJean.
There you go, Coop.
No, Reed Blankenship. Oh, now I can't see anybody. There we go, as you can see. So they're coming over. They're going to come over and talk to the fans. There's a heavy police presence. Obviously, there's going to be a huge fence. But we all know nothing stops Eagles fans.
Right.
So they're going to try to keep it on the level right here. But I love that they're coming over just to say thank you. Thank you to these fans. Some of them have been out there for 4 hours. Ashlyn was telling us that she talked to a couple people that have been out there since noon. It's 4:30 now. So they're going to welcome them back here to Philadelphia. And there's nothing quite like this. As you can see, Jeffrey Lurie with the Lombardi Trophy.
He gets it.
And that's the thing.
Yeah, this organization gets it.
The front office gets it. The ownership gets it. The coaching staff gets it. And because of that, the players get it. They set the standard.
Right. And it usually, you say stuff goes downhill. Well, it does go downhill. Not just bad stuff.
But in good stuff,
not just
too.
BS goes downhill, but also, just the tone of this team goes down.
Ashlyn, let's check in with you. And it's quite the scene down there. A little crowded by that fence, but I can see Jeffrey Lurie with that Super Bowl trophy.
I don't know if you guys can hear me, but I'm right under our camera. Nick Sirianni is putting the trophy up in the air. The fans were chanting, "We want the trophy," and these cops had no chance when Nick Sirianni started walking to this fence. Every single Eagles fan started rushing over here with Howie Roseman, Nick Sirianni, and the Lombardi Trophy. An absolute insane scene here. I hope you guys can see it because it is absolutely crazy.
We can see it. We can hear you. We can see all the fans going crazy. We saw them walk over with the trophy. I love that they did that. And like you said, there was no way the cops are going to try to keep them on the sidewalk away from the fence. They wanted to get up there, up close and personal. The first glimpse of the second Lombardi Trophy ever coming home to Philadelphia, and those fans got their first look at it. Everybody will get to see it on Friday at the parade, but there's nothing quite like this moment.
I mean, that's two. I mean, you look at the northern, the 95 corridor. I mean, a lot of teams got a lot of Super Bowls, but we are making our mark. We are now going up. We got two, and we got a bunch more going, coming, So I love the fact that, the owner brought the trophy over to the fans, At the end of the day, our fans and myself, we pay those players' salaries. We put a lot of hard work and a lot of money into this team.
Yeah, that's what when we're talking about, and everybody feels it. You saw it out there on Broad Street, people just really wanting to enjoy it with fellow Eagles fans. they just want to be a part of it. And I love that they all came out. And that the ownership and the front office and the coaching staff and the players, they all recognize that there were fans out there just to say hello, and they wanted to see them. There's Jeffrey Lurie, and being greeted by a number of people. There's a lot of joy that's going to be happening, and it just starts today, Monday after the Super Bowl. The parade, because of like weather and different things, is not going to be until Friday. That has been confirmed. As soon as we know more details, we'll bring that to you. But if you remember, in 2018, the parade started down here in South Philly by the Link around 11 o'clock and ended a couple hours later at the Art Museum. I don't know if that's the same path or if they're going to reverse it, but we'll have to find out. As soon as we do, you can make sure you check out NBCSportsPhiladelphia.com for more information on that. But Friday, we will be a part of it. We will be on the parade route. We will be out there and showing it all the sights and the sounds.
And I mean, you can't expect to for it to be as epic as it was with
I think it might be
Kelsey.
more epic.
One thing with Kelsey.
Oh, the speech.
The speech.
Well, yeah, you
don't
can't
look
beat
for that.
that.
Yeah, you can't beat. I mean,
you can't beat that.
That's almost like a when you have a show and you try to remake a show, you can't.
Yeah,
really
the
do
sequel's
it.
never.
Yeah.
Not.
Never,
sometimes
never,
it's
never,
good though. It doesn't. Rocky IV is the best Rocky, so there's that. So I guess maybe the fourth Super Bowl trophy presentation will be the best. But I think that there will be more people at the parade, or at least just as many.
Absolutely.
Because there were people that like, oh yeah, maybe I couldn't go, and I just have already so many people asking about what are the details. Let's go. Let's get on with it.
People are getting sick right now on Thursday night to prepare right now since we get
the best is it's on Valentine's Day. I'm like, what better way to celebrate love than the love for your Philadelphia Eagles?
Well, I'm glad you put it that way, because I was gonna say, hey, all Valentine's Day plans have been canceled.
They've been canceled. They've been rerouted.
They are done
to the
now.
Eagles parade.
I mean, the love is going to the Eagles parade, and then making arrangements after that. After that.
And that'll be fine, as long as you guys just stay upright. You can celebrate Valentine's Day later that night. But they can see there is the trophy. They're walking with the trophy right there, the Lombardi trophy. How heavy is that thing?
It's not heavy at all.
I feel like I've stood next to it and I've touched it, but I've never carried it around.
I mean,
because I didn't win it.
I had an
like
opportunity to carry it and hold it, you know what I'm saying? And I love what I heard, earlier on this week, where, you look at all the fingerprints that are on there. You think, oh, that's nasty. No, those fingerprints are the blood, sweat, and tears of 53 men with a common goal who went out there and delivered and won the championship, won the Super Bowl. And I looked it up and I thought, you're absolutely right. That's history, so it's crazy, and we talk about, it's made by Tiffany. Tiffany makes the Super Bowl. They've been making it, for a long time. And I wanted to buy a miniature one, and I couldn't because it was $12,000 for a 10-inch.
I'll get you aluminum one. It's going to be about $10. I'll wrap it in aluminum for you. Let's check back in with Ashlyn Sullivan, who's with some of the fans who've been waiting out and just got their first glimpse of the Lombardi Trophy. Ashlyn?
Yes, Amy, my friend Fran was first in row here with all of his grandchildren, and you were the one that said that you were nuts to be here at noon, but you're not nuts, you're just passionate to share this moment with your grandchildren. What's that like?
Yeah, I mean, the bond between the grandparents and the grandchildren is special, right? I mean, you get the least amount of time with each other on this earth, you know what I mean? So we thought we'd make a core memory and come down here and see the trophy land, you know what I mean? So it was fun. I mean, I'm glad we did it. They had told us to stay across the street and not to come over to where we're standing right now, because this is the closest you can get to the fence. And the officer said that wouldn't be allowed. But sure enough, as soon as the plane landed, they allowed people to come over. So we were in the back. We didn't get to see much.
Well, we knew the cops basically said that they were going to stand no chance. And I hear that you're a big Eagles fan as well, yes?
Yes.
How long have you been an Eagles fan for?
Well, life.
Your whole life. Well, to experience a moment like this, it's pretty cool, Amy, and I heard you guys talking about it. This is the moments we talk about, a Super Bowl championship, sharing it with your family, irreplaceable stuff.
Yes, it is, and I love that they were there. And he made such a good point about grandparents and their grandkids. It's a core memory that those little guys and girls are going to have with their granddad for a really long time to come.
That's good parenting. That's great parenting.
That's just good family right there. That's,
I mean,
that's how you're supposed to raise them up.
No question, no question. From the jerseys, your kids, have the jerseys, and you raise sports fans, and it gets ingrained into them, and I have to make, say to myself, I told my son and my grandson, they live in Kansas City. He's been in Kansas City his whole life. He's 35 years old, and he's lived in Kansas City. He's a Chiefs fan. And I told him, yeah, son, that's bad parenting. You're making him a Chiefs fan. Your dad played in the NFL for the Eagles. You got to root for the Eagles. And I had a bet with him that they would have to be Eagles fan if the Eagles win. And I knew they were going to win.
Yeah, and you won.
But then I called him back, I told my grandson, you can't be a fair weather fan. You got to stick to what you love. And, he said, I'm glad, Pop, because I didn't want to lie to you, Pop. I'm like, thank you, grandson. He's 9 years old. He's like, thank you, Pop.
Thank you,
grandson. I'm glad you Pop.
He's seen enough winning. He can take a break for a second, okay? He can take a break for a second. Let us enjoy this.
RJ, Ramel Jr., RJ and RJ Jr.
I love it. But this is, it was great to see all of those families out there, people just wanting to be a part of this special moment as the Eagles have come off the plane. They have now landed. They're getting their bags. They're unloading all of their gear from being in New Orleans now for obviously a week at this point, and just celebrating with the fans. They brought the trophy over, so fans able to see it for the first time since it arrived here in Philadelphia. And this is just the start of what's going to be an incredible week here. The parade isn't until Friday, so it's going to be a lot of buildup. I already saw that Philadelphia schools will be canceled. There was a couple school districts last week. Upper Darby School District, I know for a fact, last week said today they were starting on a 2-hour delay, regardless of the outcome.
Right.
Like that is, if you want to know what it's like here in Philadelphia, that's emblematic of exactly
and
what
it had
it's
nothing
like.
to do with the kids. It's all about the parents seeing if they can get their hangovers over.
Make sure
their
the
kids
teachers
out to
can,
school.
and make sure the teachers can come.
Exactly.
Make sure they can come and
that's
get
what
there.
it's all about. We had fans even across the pond.
I talked to a guy who came in from Quebec City yesterday, just for this moment, just to watch the Super Bowl in Philadelphia. That's all he wanted to do. He and his friend flew in from Quebec City, Canada, just so they could be here for the Eagles to win the Super Bowl.
One of the great franchises in the NFL, the Philadelphia Eagles. Talking about the gold standard or Mr. It's hard for me to really give you guys an understanding on how it was. I was Mr. Lurie's first draft class. For the Eagles. I was the first offensive lineman he drafted, third player he picked in the NFL draft in 1995. And first thing he said, you guys are setting the foundation on how we're going to run this going forward. He said, I will exhaust any means to make sure this franchise will be the best franchise going forward. And I didn't know anything about the earlier owner, on how they did things, evidently it was pretty bad. But, from that point on, he has done everything to make, even as far as, I know everybody doesn't like, everybody loves the Kelly Green, but he changed that simply because he wanted a whole new, experience of being an Eagles fan and being an Eagle. So he changed things, got things going in the right direction, and he's done a masterful job of really putting this, franchise ahead of a lot of franchises. I mean, it went from what? I think he paid $187 million for this franchise. Now I think it's like a $6 or $7 billion franchise now.
Yeah, I mean, obviously winning does a lot for that. But you mentioned the change in uniforms, the era of the midnight green, and he really just wanted to have a new, fresh kind of take on everything. And it's been, when he's used, you talked about this earlier, when he used the gold standard.
I love it. I love it.
But at the time, it was.
They laughed at him.
What was the gold standard? You have no championships. How is that a gold standard? Especially in the NFC East.
Exactly.
Especially in this.
No
state.
Super Bowls, and I talked about, 95. You go up 95, look how many Super Bowls on 95. And, as you go up, you got D.C., you got New York, those teams had them. Even going up to Baltimore, they had some. But we didn't have any. And at this point, we have 2 Super Bowls. And, I can go over right now, see one Super Bowl.
3 Super Bowl appearances
and I can go back
in 7
again.
years.
Exactly. I can go back again. I can go there now. There will be 2 Super Bowl trophies in the NovaCare Center, and I'm just proud that I was, came in with this organization, and this organization definitely makes sure that, older players like myself are still a part of the organization. They said the foundation was built, and they're going to make sure they keep those 2 tied together, and it's worked very, very well for this organization.
That's a great point, because you've seen this past week a lot of the former players who have been part of the Eagles organization in one way, shape, or form in their careers celebrating this. I saw LaShawn McCoy out there celebrating it, and you've seen Brian Dawkins celebrating it, and you love that they're a part of it as much as anything else, as much as they can be, not being on the field. And I think that's really important because that's how this
huge.
Organization is run. It's a family still.
And look at, Hall of Famer now, Eric Allen becoming a Hall of Famer.
Tremendous.
I think it took this organization also going in on his behalf and pushing the issue and pressing the issue on his behalf for him to get pushed up. And then, before he got to 20 years that he's had an opportunity to be a Hall of Famer, them pushing his case also, I think it really helped him, with the owner and everything else with the Philadelphia Eagles. Now he's a Hall of Famer. I mean, it's a class organization, from top to bottom.
We can see the Eagles have all, looks like they've all deplaned at this point. They're getting their bags loaded up in all of those buses. You can see all those Academy buses right there. Those will then take off. They'll come right up 95, get off at that Broad Street exit, and pull into the NovaCare complex. So this is our look here from the chopper, the helicopter. So it'll be following the Eagles buses as they make their way up 95. And it's just the first, as I mentioned, of many different things you're going to be seeing this week. The guys are going to be all over celebrating as they wait for the parade on Friday, which will be quite the party. The last parade, I don't think we were prepared, but we weren't really prepared.
Not
you
really,
didn't know
really
exactly
prepared,
how
yes.
it was going to be. I'll never forget, Barrett, being at the beginning. So you were at the end of it.
I was at the end, yeah.
And I was at the very beginning. And that's when we have what's called talkback on our microphones. And I got into the microphone and I said, I don't know how to describe this, but Jason Kelsey's wearing like a Joker or Jester outfit. And everybody's like, what? I'm like, you'll see in a minute. He's also riding a bicycle. And so that kind of set the tone. I'll be interested to see what tone setters we have this time around. But you talked about the young guys, an experience like this, and you've been on a Super Bowl championship parade. It really does make that hunger even stronger for you to get back and have that feeling.
It definitely. You want to make sure that you have that same drive, have that same work ethic. You look what they did with the Patriots. That drive, that work ethic. Once they got used to doing that standard, then it was hard for them to get away from it. Well, I wanted to be really, really hard for them to get away from this Eagles standard. They set the bar high, and I mean, you can't say it enough. This team turned the corner on understanding how good they could be, after, week 5, after the bye week, after they had an opportunity to see and look at how good they can be and what they should be doing. I mean, things, finally fell into place. And we understood the defense was going to be young. The defense would have some bumps and bruises to go through. But, I mean, for them to turn it around in that short a time, we're talking about 5 weeks, totally turn
right.
How they played this defense. It's crazy they were able to do it. But like I said, the big thing is not necessarily X and O's, but the Eagle way, their mindset, understand what they needed to do. From the offensive line going into the offensive saying, hey, we got to run the ball more. We have a great, talented running back. We got to take advantage of his skill set. We got to make sure we run the ball, pound people. And you do that not just, from what Saquon could do from an athletic standpoint, but more so that you could do that, and that's the worst thing you can do to a defense, to run the ball and they can't stop it. It really demoralizes the defense.
So now, look at the time of possession of the Super Bowl.
Exactly. Well, Kansas City, you need to say they stopped the running game, but you picked your poison. You chose to stop the running game, but you couldn't stop everything else. And that's how solid this team is. They were able to go out there and Jalen passed the ball, put themselves in positions to really be great at every point during this game. They didn't have an answer for any part of this game that the Eagles were giving them. Running the ball, everybody's like, oh, we're running the ball.
Yeah, well, then Jalen was able to run the ball.
Yeah, he'd go out there and make a first down.
Yep.
Those are things that, how do you stop them? I mean, Spags, that's my guy. I'm very, very close with, Coach Spags, defensive coordinator for Kansas City Chiefs. He's always at the golf tournaments I go to. We talk all the time. He he was like, I don't know what to do. What do you want me to do? Stop the run? Because as soon as he would have taken that 1 or 2 defender out of the box, Saquon Barkley would have hit his head on the goalpost, and he understood that. So, Coach, what do you want me to stop the run and just casually, have him do it, or you want us to, let the floodgates open? And they chose to do it, and it worked out because this team is just so talented.
Yeah,
so
I think
talented.
that they were probably banking on Jalen making a mistake or turning the ball over.
And he did.
And he did
Exactly.
not. No turnovers for Jalen Hurts. A tremendous postseason for him and a tremendous Super Bowl.
Yeah, we had one
earned.
pick, but it was.
Yes, that was nonsense.
He knew he should.
I don't give that one. I don't give him that one because it resulted in a 3 and out, so it doesn't count for me. You can see that the police escort has started to leave the Atlantic Aviation part of Philadelphia Airport. All those buses right behind them filled with Eagles coaches, the ownership, the front office, and of course, all of the players. And on those buses is the second Lombardi trophy ever to be won here in Philadelphia. The fans getting up right up against it. You can see some fans are out there waving as they are passed by the buses that are headed to the NovaCare complex. So they'll go up 95.
It means a lot to those fans also. It means a lot.
It does.
And it means more to the players. You may not think so because you see the black, but it means more to players. You know, you
it's
may
just a
think
cool moment.
sit down,
They look outside and they
like,
see those fans, just waiting around just to say hi. I mean, I think that's a huge kind of seminal moment for you in your career when you look over and think, there's a gentleman that waited with his grandkids 4 hours just to say hi to me.
Outside in the elements.
Yeah, just to say, just to wave.
Just so he could see us get off the plane. I mean, someone might think he's crazy. Some of you guys might think like, man, that's absolutely, one of the biggest highs you can get from playing a sport, to understand that, the fan base loves you enough to take their time out, bring their children and grandchildren down just to say hello to us as we get off the plane, knowing we're not going to be able to spend a moment with you.
Right.
But still just showing, the gratitude we have that you brought an NFL Super Bowl back to the city. And I can say back now. It used to be, before, 2016 and to bring a Super Bowl to the city.
Right, it's
but now
returning.
we're bringing it back to the city. I mean, that's definitely, great from the whole organization standpoint. This city loves the fact this Eagles team. I mean, I wanted to be title town, so hopefully, the other four sports, and I'm including soccer, the other four sports, take notice of it. You know what? We got to do the same thing.
Yes, we do. Well, 2022 was a pretty marquee year when you're looking at the World Series, the Super Bowl appearance, and unfortunately, and then obviously the
second round of playoffs,
MLS Cup for the Union as well. There's 3 championship potential, and they came away empty-handed, but not on this day, not with the Eagles as they win their second Lombardi trophy. There is an aerial look. This is all from our helicopter as they're coming up. They're getting ready to get on to I-95 coming north. As you can see, there's motorcycle police. There's the police escort with the SUVs.
Well, I remember this now. I vaguely remember this now, this whole route and everything, just when I played here, not from winning the championship, but when I played here,
of getting back on the bus and back up to the NovaCare complex where they, those cars have been
sitting. It wasn't
sitting.
NovaCare then. We were at the vet.
That's right. You practice where you play.
We were at the vet.
Facilities are a little bit nicer now.
Just a tad bit.
The NovaCare complex, as Barrett and I have both been over there, is exceptional.
Oh, my goodness.
No offense to what was going on with the vet back in the day.
I remember we used to have lunch with, we had green beans, mashed potatoes, with no protein. I'm like, what's going on?
Well, I think that's because you were on a different plan than maybe some of the wide receivers. For those who don't know, there's different menus for different players.
No, it was just because it was just a different time back then.
Barrett was on the red plan. The green plan was more like, hey, you get some fried chicken if you want it. As they see the buses, numerous buses filled with Eagles players, the front office and coaches as well, obviously. The only player not on this right now is Jalen Hurts because he's down in Orlando. I saw his parade earlier. He was out there with Mickey and Minnie as the MVP. That is what, of course, they do. I'm going to Disney World, and he is there in Disney World celebrating that with a parade, but I'm sure he'll be back later today. And, of course, he will be for the big parade. Mickey's parade, we love you. I'm sure it was wonderful, but you ain't got nothing on the parade that you're going to see down Broad Street on Friday. It's going to be fun. So this is a live look at the buses as they're coming up 95. And people are just passing by thinking, what in the world? But I think everybody in Philadelphia, if you see a cop car and about 10 buses up behind it, you know exactly who that is on those buses.
Yeah, because you know exactly.
It's not like one or two. Exactly, because the basketball team has 2 buses.
Right.
Baseball team might have 3 buses.
Exactly.
Football team's going to have 9 buses.
All 52 well, actually, it's more than that, because you got the practice
front
squad
office,
guys,
and practice squad,
all that stuff. But
coaching staff.
I mean, this is what it's all
and some family members too, as you mentioned.
Yeah. I mean,
like a whole 747.
I mean, that's this team. Throughout this year, they never gave up on it. Even there were a lot of people that gave up on them. And I love the national pundits. There are many times, and NBC, posted a couple of times where I straight went off on the national pundits because how are you going to talk about my team? You can't talk about my team. Only I can talk about my team. Mm-hmm. Saying keep all that to yourself. And then, when they talking about Jalen Hurts is running this offense how he's supposed to run this offense. If they give him a play, he's running the play the way it's supposed to. He might check to something, he sees something else, but that's just what it is, so.
They're crossing the Platte Bridge here.
Yep.
In South Philadelphia.
Almost home.
Almost home. This is the quickest way It's also known, in my instance, as the Wawa exit.
That's the quickest way I've ever seen them, or the quickest time I've ever seen them go over that bridge and get to that bridge. So, I need me a police escort when I go over there.
Well, that's
I
what
never
happens.
get
You
there
block
that
off traffic. You get to go wherever you want to go as quickly as you want to go.
I call college football games on the weekends, on Saturdays, and I have to be back for Eagles covers on Sunday. And there was a lot of times in which I wanted to go away from there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
I was like, how else can I get there as fast as I need to get there? But I got to go over the bridge to get there. So it's never been that open and that free, for traffic to go through right now.
The Platte Bridge has never been so empty.
Never.
No.
Ever.
Everybody that comes
ever.
over the Platte Bridge knows exactly what we're talking about right now. Because you can get on 76 right there, and obviously you can cut over to Patterson Avenue. And then that's where the Eagles were going to be pulling into NovaCare Complex. You can see all the buses. I think there are 7 or 8 buses that are all holding the Eagles players, their coaching staff, and the front office, as well as the ownership group. The ownership with Jeffrey Lurie and his wife. Obviously, Mrs. Lurie is out there as well. They were the first ones to walk off the plane with the Lombardi Trophy. Jeffrey Lurie was. Then you saw him with Nick Sirianni, who helped bring the trophy over to the fans, there was hundreds of fans waiting at the fence line at the airport. Howie Roseman as well, Big Dom. And then we started to see all the players deplane wearing all of their Super Bowl gear, some sunglasses after the late nights, celebrating. Listen, they're not the first people to come home from New Orleans with some sunglasses on their head in the middle of the day, okay? It's no big deal in that
Look, there's
regard.
no traffic right there. I mean,
It's
huge.
never been so.
Never been that. I've never gotten anywhere that fast in that area ever. But I mean,
you just need 7 cop cars.
Let's go. Yeah, there we go. Let's go. Oh, there
so
it
you
is.
Can see they're
blocked
blocking
off.
it off.
Yeah, they blocked off.
They're blocking off everything right now.
You take that right there. You make a left right there. You go to Center City. So
if you're sitting in that traffic, you're like, what is happening? And then you see those buses. You're beeping your horn. You're yelling, "Go Birds!" And you're fine with it. You were not fine with it 5 seconds before you saw the bus.
Oh, absolutely
But once you saw the bus, you were fine with it.
You hot as fist grease before then, but once you see why you're sitting there,
you're fine.
Oh, they love it too. Yeah, they love it.
Yeah. That's exactly what's happening.
I'm surprised to see that many people out anyways. We just won a Super Bowl last night. I didn't think anybody, I thought the natives would still be home right now. But, they're here.
You can't underestimate this fan base.
I know. It's
you should never do that. Of course they're going to be out there. Hundreds of fans lining up for a couple hours to see the Eagles as they landed back here in Philadelphia just about 30 minutes ago. Now you can see they're turning up. This is Patterson Avenue. They're getting ready to turn back into the NovaCare Complex where they were get back in their cars, go on home, and finally maybe relax just a little bit and breathe.
Just a little bit,
Is this when it sets in for you that you're back here in Philadelphia and you think, that happened, that actually happened?
Well, you tend to start, this is about the time when you get home this time when you start answering phone calls, start answering texts. You'll spend a good portion of your day just doing that. You really didn't last night after you won.
Oh, yeah.
You kind of put your phone away and just enjoyed and brought in everything that comes with winning a Super Bowl. So you really didn't say anything. But right now, they're going to be at a point where they'll sit back like, all right, we just did something. We just did something very, very special. We were the best team. We were better than 31 other teams in the NFL. So I mean that's huge that they're Super Bowl champions.
Right, so this is,
I know there's people
these
here.
are the fans, exactly. This is outside the NovaCare Complex. They're getting ready to turn in as we're looking live as the buses carrying the Eagles players, the coaching staff, owner Jeffrey Lurie. They're getting ready to turn into the NovaCare Complex, coming home with the second Lombardi Trophy in Eagles history. You can see all the cars lined up. Some of them might be parked. Some of them are just probably got out of their cars and said, let's go and welcome them. She's in the middle of the road. There's a car there. It's a cop car.
Police had to tell her to get up the way.
We're just going to keep on rolling. I love our fans here in Philadelphia. We already saw hundreds of fans at the airport waiting for hours. These fans have also been waiting for hours just for a glimpse of a bus.
Yes.
Just so they can say that they were there when the Eagles got home winning the Lombardi Trophy.
I mean, this is exciting. Look how our fans are just out
Look,
there.
there's just hundreds
They're
of them.
excited.
You can see them over on the side, but behind where our camera is, they panned over. There you go. You can hear it live.
Just an unbelievable scene here right now.
I believe that's Aaron Baskerville from NBC 10. As he's telling us what's going on. You can see they're deep in there. There's fans go all the way back. They're all the way across. There's a gentleman with a helmet on because, of course, and You can see they're all
Some with jackets, some without jackets, but you know,
Listen,
they're braver than I am.
When you're out there and you're celebrating a championship, that maybe probably is about 100 fans, I think, just waiting to see a bus as they come in, they pull back in. And as a player, you see the players looking out, they've got some of their phones out, you can see as well. That must be such a cool thing.
It is very cool, you know, because all these people are excited for what you just pulled off. One of the greatest, you know, sports events ever in life. You know, you went out there and brought this city a Super Bowl, and they're just showing you how, you know, how gracious they are that, you know, you were able to go out there and do it. And I mean, on that bus, there's some dogs on that bus, and those guys on that bus have an opportunity to not just be the last time they do it. Mm-hmm. They have a core group of guys, young guys, and this team could be very, very good next year also.
You can see the players now getting off of the buses. It looks like there's 7 buses. They're going to go into their locker room. They'll kind of unpack some of their gear. Obviously, they'll drop some off to be laundered. I imagine it has a lot of different things going on with it between the celebrations of cigars and that's Big Dom. Big Dom's holding the trophy right there. As he's getting ready to help the players off.
Security.
Security. We're holding the most secure thing right now. There's Vic Fangio as they are getting ready to, they'll get all unpacked. They'll drop off all the gear to be laundered because they were celebrating deep into the night wearing those uniforms as it was all
so they're probably,
sprayed everywhere.
Yeah, they'll probably right now.
Beer, everything else.
Go put their stuff up, and they'll just go home. Tomorrow they'll wake up, go to the Novacare complex, and they got to go through physicals, you know, just to make sure.
Yeah, end of season kind of business stuff, right?
So take care of
clean
that
out their lockers.
Stuff, clean out their lockers. You know, some guys will be there, some guys won't, and that's the, you know, kind of important thing people need to realize. There will never be a team constructed like that team now. You know, it'll be a totally different team next year, even though there'll be a lot of guys there, you know, from this Super Bowl here. But you know, it'll be a totally different team. It'll be a new team, and they're going to have to come together like they did before. But that's when you have a great coach, and I said a great coach like Nick Sirianni, who brings in coaches. There's Lane, too.
There's Lane Johnson.
Who brings in guys that fit the Eagle way, fit the mold of what they do. You know, is that Saquon right there? Yeah, it looks like Saquon.
It looks like Saquon. I saw Devontae Smith getting off the plane there. And so
Saquon
same outfit,
white.
you can see him, he was in the green there.
There's a starting center right there, Cam
Jurgens walking up as the guys are going to get ready to go. They're walking into where their locker rooms are located. They'll drop their gear off. It's not locker room clean out day. That would be just too much to do in one day. So it's going to be more like a drop off, get everything kind of organized. And anybody that's seen all of our coverage that we've had, anytime we show you the locker room when we do our interviews, there's a lot of stuff in those lockers.
Yeah, it is.
So they have to clean all that stuff out from a whole season. And this season went on for as long as it could possibly go on, which is always a really, really important thing. You got to win the very last game you play, and that's exactly what the Eagles did.
I mean, you got to pay the cost to be the boss. Now, you know, I mean, even the staff, you know, the scouting staff, all those guys, they don't have a jump like these teams that weren't good enough have a jump right now for next year. You know, they're having to jump for, you know, spring, you know, I mean, not spring, it's not spring football here, but, you know, the combine's coming up here.
OTAs,
you know, free agencies, all that stuff, you know. So they've had a month to prepare while the Eagles preparing each for their opponents, you know, up to winning the Super Bowl. But I bet they would trade that preparation for a Super Bowl title, you know, for sure. But, you know, these guys are the champions. You know, I joke all the time that I was the best sixth man coming off the bench for the Steelers, you know, in the world. Look at that, Cam Jurgens, the best center in the world right now. Lane Johnson, the best right tackle. Jordan Mailata, the best left tackle.
Saquon,
the best runner. They are the best in the world right now. There's no
Tyler
better
Steve,
than
best
them.
Sixth man?
He's the best sixth man in the world right now. The best sixth man in the world. These guys are the best, the cream of the crop. You know, they've won the most highly coveted trophy you can get in football. In football, you know, there's no higher honor than winning a Super Bowl in football. You know, I believe a lot of guys would take and rather, you know, take away the Pro Bowls and everything else to win a Super Bowl. And, you know, here the Eagles are doing it.
We're just holding the Super Bowl trophy. We're going to take a selfie with it. Do you know how many selfies I would take if I had a Super Bowl?
I can only imagine.
It would be I already have like 400,000 photos on my phone. That would be 4,100,000, I think, maybe of just
there you
that.
go. Yeah,
now I'm going to get it, and this is going to be going on for days. And the one thing I know that that the Eagles will do, and they did it the time when they won the Super Bowl trophy back in Super Bowl 52, is there's a great event what they have with season ticket holders can go and take pictures with the Super Bowl trophy.
Yes,
I think that's always something really, really cool that they do.
And a lot of times, you know, I mean, I go, they call me and, you know, they want a guy that, you know, that played for the Eagles, a veteran guy that came in, you know, who's retired now, to come in and, you know, kind of host those events. You know, so they call me to host those type of events also.
It's good stuff.
You know?
Yeah, we had an event. I remember we all got to go over as partners with the Eagles, broadcast partners. We got to take our picture. And you can bet I have at least 50 of those right now on my camera. So there goes the trophy. It's going to be wiped down a little bit, but it will be eventually put into a case next to the Super Bowl 52 winning trophy. There's 2 Lombardi trophies now housed.
I wonder if they built the case already.
No, because you have to go ahead and have to, you know, have special case. 2 spotlights now coming down, not just one.
Right, yeah, just one.
They probably left room for it, so we'll have to check that out when we go.
They got to do it because you know, they didn't want to jinx themselves, you know, so they got to go and
You want to leave
customize.
room. You want to be confident, but not cocky. I think that's important. All right, we want to thank you guys for joining us as we welcome the Eagles back here to Philadelphia. We went from watching a plane land to hundreds of fans standing around and being able to greet all of the players, coaches, and Jeffrey Lurie, and they saw the first look at the Lombardi Trophy. And you'll be back for Birds Huddle.
Back in Philly, watch Birds Huddle. Come on at 6 o'clock, 6 to 6:30. Come check it out. This is it. World champs. World champs.
All right, we will see you later. And, of course, we'll have all your coverage for the parade on Friday.